The fact that they are checking with Al Sharpton on how to end this boycott is hilarious to me. It is hilarious. You know who you need to ask? Me. This is who you need to talk to, the black suburban moms. We're the bitches who were up in Target all the time. Al has never been to a Target. I mean, maybe once or twice, but no. When I was in there roaming the aisles sniffing the candles, I didn't see a bunch of brothers in there.
Hey guys, so now, after losing billions and feeling the heat, Target CEO Brian Cornell wants to sit down with black leaders. Funny how they remember us when their money starts disappearing, right? Word on the street is, Brian Cornell even had to jump on ChatGPT just to figure out which black leaders he should reach out to, all because they're desperate to get the black community to lift this boycott sanction after losing over $15 billion. But here's the thing. Should Al Sharpton still be speaking for us? Now don't get me wrong, Sharpton's been around for decades. He rose up in the 70s fighting for civil rights and economic justice. A lot of folks remember him from the Tawana Brawley case back in '87, where he stood up for a young black girl who said she was attacked by white men. Even though those claims were later proven false, Sharpton made a name for himself as someone who wasn't afraid to speak out. He's run for Senate, mayor of New York, and even president in 2004. He didn't win, but it definitely boosted his public profile. But here's the real question. Just because Sharpton has history, does that mean he should still be the voice companies call when they want to talk to us? I don't think so. We need both seasoned voices and new leaders who truly represent where the black community is today, especially with Trump's second term changing the game. Let's be honest, the institutions Sharpton is tied to, like the black church, don't carry the same weight with younger generations. A lot of those spaces aren't speaking to the issues we care about most anymore. So while Brian Cornell is out here trying to save his company by calling up familiar names, we gotta ask, is he really talking to the right people? In this video, we're gonna break all that down and talk about why we can't just accept any seat at the table, especially when the table wasn't built for us in the first place. Here's what our community had to say about this.
So Jamal Bryant came out and said that he was going to extend the Target boycott for another 40 days and 40 nights. And I'm here to tell you, Jamal, you ain't got to do all that, baby. These folks ain't fooling up with their red and white circle. And they also said Al Sharpton is supposed to be meeting up with the CEO of Target to discuss why he rolled back the DEI efforts. And my question is, Al, why? Why are we wasting our time when this man has quite literally gave us his ass to kiss? This man has shown us over and over again that he is standing on big business because he did not retract what he said after losing billions. Why do you think, Al, after sitting down with you, he's going to have a change of heart? He's not. And Al, you're wasting your time because there's nothing this CEO can do or say that's going to make these people start back shopping at Target. Al, he has burned that bridge and it seems like he's okay with dying on that heat. So Al, what I'm going to need you to do is find the nearest beach and go relax like that perm on your head.
This is a message for Target and Target only. Okay? Are you listening? Whoever told you to do a sit down with Reverend Al Sharpton, you should fire them. Because I, like many other Americans, do not look towards Al Sharpton to be the beacon of hope. I don't look towards Al Sharpton to help me define and or curate my moral compass. I don't know who told you, but Al Sharpton is not the leader of the Black liberation movement. He wasn't even the person leading the conversation on DEI. Al Sharpton is not relevant and hasn't been so in more than a decade. That's not to say that Al Sharpton doesn't represent a subgroup of African Americans who believe and think the way that he does. But if for 1 second you think that one meeting with Al Sharpton is going to get Black people to start flocking back to your company, because at this point you're going to have to do a lot more than have a photo shoot with a handful of Black civil rights leaders to get us back into those stores. I've now curated my entire life to where I don't even think about anything that I could possibly need from Target. I drive past Target every day, don't have any inkling or itch to return. Why? Because you didn't understand your base. And you are willing to throw us under the bus in order to appease a subgroup of American voters who never shopped at Target anyway.
Let's talk about how not to do business in 2025. Target, yes, that Target just hit its lowest stock price since the early days of the pandemic. $87.35 a share. That's a 4-year low. And why? Because when you cave to anti-DEI pressure and backpedal on your commitments to Black people, LGBTQ plus communities, and every other marginalized group who helped build your brand, there will be consequences. See, Target rolled back its DEI initiatives thinking no one would notice. Well, America noticed, especially Black America. Foot traffic in store is down significantly. Consumer trust is shaken. And Black folks, oh, we've closed our wallets. Now, all of a sudden, Target's calling Reverend Al Sharpton for a meeting with their CEO. Look, we highly respect Reverend Al. He's earned that. But let's be real. Gen X and millennials, the very core of your consumer base, Target, are not moved by photo ops with civil rights icons from a different era. We want accountability. We want action. We want to hear from younger progressive voices who reflect our values, our demands, and our dollars. Sharpton may not call for a boycott, but many of us already have.
Y'all, Target calling in and petitioning for Al Sharpton's help because we done boycotted them almost into bankruptcy. Yes. You know what it feels like? It feels like when you're at work and you're being discriminated against, but you're the only person who know how to do the job, but they need you, but they don't want to say that they need you. That's what it feels like right here. That's what it feels like with Target. Like, baby, say you're sorry and get on your knees and beg.
Target really said, who's a Black person that does activism? Let's get them. And then they went and got Al Sharpton. And I really believe that Target thinks getting Al Sharpton is going to bring Black people back to Target. Why the y'all think bringing Al Sharpton and getting him to talk about Target is going to bring Black people back to Target? Y'all literally said, we know a Black. We know a Black, so let's get him. See, you guys, we know a Black, and he says that we're not that bad. Like, he says that Target is still cool. Like, we know a Black. Baby, Target is over. Target's done. Al Sharpton isn't going to bring Target back for y'all. Like, I understand that now you guys see that what you did was and you shouldn't have done it. But, like, at the end of the day, you already showed what it is. You were so excited to get rid of Black people's shit out of Target. You were, like, too excited. So you already made up your decision. Bringing back Al Sharpton is not going to make us think, oh, yay, Target loves Black people. It just makes me think you guys were like, oh, I know a Black. And you guys went and got someone who's Black who does activism in order to make us think that you guys are aligned with that when you're clearly not. So Target, boo-hoo.
I'm so sorry. I have to laugh. Target thinking that the solution to them rolling back on DEI is scheduling a meeting with their CEO and Al Sharpton because people are boycotting is a little hilarious because, respectfully, no shade to Reverend Al Sharpton, power to the people, but Al Sharpton is not the spokesperson for Black America. More importantly, I would argue a huge part of this movement and the mobilization of it happened on social media, and Al Sharpton does not necessarily represent the generation that is pulling back their dollars from Target. I would also like to point out, let's say Target apologizes and acknowledges that this might not have been a smart business move. You offended your base, your consumer base. I would also argue that because they're losing that much dollars, like, Black people are not the only people boycotting Target. But that's neither here nor there. Let's say they apologize. Let's say they acknowledge that doing that, especially so publicly, was a mistake. The reality is the apology would only matter if there's action and creating an infrastructure that allows their new brands, whether they're Black owned or not, to actually thrive on their shelves. Because just being a Black owned brand on a Target shelf isn't enough for you to actually do well as a business. And what happens is a lot of these brands get so excited about being at a Target and they have to scale to Target's demand and create an inventory that accommodates Target's consumer numbers. They end up not doing well and actually going under because they cannot afford to accommodate being in Target, but they also aren't necessarily selling at the rate they need to sell in order to just break even. So if Target, the multi-billion-dollar corporation, really wanted to make an apology, they should do a formal apology, but also create an infrastructure for brands entering Target, whether they are Black owned, women owned, or literally owned by anybody, that allows those brands to actually thrive on their shelves rather than just take up space in order to not sell and be removed from the shelves.
I've got a question. Do you think if Target had DEI, their CEO would have known not to go to Al Sharpton? Me neither.
So remember back in January when I said that we should boycott Target for 183 days? I referenced the Alabama bus boycott which was 382 days. And the only reason that the city of Alabama stood down and passed laws that allowed people to sit wherever on the bus was because their pockets got light. They were about to go bankrupt. And now here we are, months later, not 382, 83 days like I proposed, but just probably about, 10 weeks, maybe like less than 90 days. And Target wants to meet with Al Sharpton. Why Al? I don't know. There's a rumor in these TikTok streets is that the CEO asked Chat GPT who he should talk to or who were the black activists, and Al Sharpton's name came up. So, has Al Sharpton ever been in a Target? All my days in Target, and you guys, I've been honest. Like, Target had me in a chokehold. I loved going to Target, roaming the aisles, smelling the candles, doing the things, getting my Starbucks, looking at the tops. I loved Target. And so the fact that I haven't been since January 7th, I'm gone through my withdrawals. I don't feel a way when I drive by there anymore. I have replaced them in my heart with some other places. And my pockets look better because I don't waste money in Target anymore. But the fact that they are checking with Al Sharpton on how to end this boycott is hilarious to me. It is hilarious. You know who you need to ask? Me. This is who you need to talk to, the black suburban moms. We're the bitches who were up in Target all the time. Al has never been to a Target. I mean, maybe once or twice, but no. When I was in there roaming the aisle, sniffing the candles, I didn't see a bunch of brothers in there. That was not a pickup spot. So I don't know why you're checking with a black man on how to get the 92% to do anything. I don't know why. These people keep wanting to sidestep, turn around, step over black women and our opinions, and for that they shall suffer. They shall continue to suffer until they understand the power of the black dollar, and the holder of the black retail dollar in this space was black women. So Target, nice try, but we ain't coming back. And it doesn't matter if you talk to Al Sharpton or you summon Harriet Tubman from the grave. We have replaced you, and we don't know you anymore.
See, at the end of the day, it's not just about CEOs calling meetings or bringing in the same old faces. It's about real change and making sure our voices from every corner of the black community are truly being heard. We can't let these companies think that a quick conversation or a photo op is enough to win us back. Respect isn't given because they're losing money. It's earned through action. So, I want to hear from y'all. Do you think talking to leaders like Al Sharpton is enough? Or is it time for companies like Target to start listening to new voices that actually represent where we are today? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's keep this conversation going. And if you're feeling this message, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, because we're going to keep holding these companies accountable. Until next time, stay aware, stay strong, and remember, we are the power they're chasing.